One of the things that I observed, I work at a food pantry in terms of distributing fresh produce that we give out to the homelessness. One of the foods that I want to ask about, or fruits and foods, is the freeze-dried food that some of them will take the food, fresh vegetable, throw it away, but they take the meat. And just introducing them to maybe freeze-dry fruits and vegetables, is that something you checked into?
So the question is your question, is freeze-dried fruits and vegetables healthy?
Fresh vegetables.
As far as I know, it does not harm fruits and vegetables when they are freezed immediately after being picked and then eaten sometime later. So if that helps sufficiently get people fed, then as far as I know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Thanks, Glenn. And up next we have Mike. Welcome, Mike.
Good morning, folks. First of all, I want to say, Glenn, wonderful presentation. But let me back up a little bit, and Ben and Steve, I don't know if Steve's on the call at all right now, but please thank your staff at the True Health, the Truth About Health conference, because presentations such as this would never be like on Netflix or anything like that. And I think it's very, very important. Glenn, back to you, sir. The way you present things, I think you said in the beginning you were a stand-up comic.
Yeah.
I hope I got that right.
Yes.
But the way you present things, satirical with rhetorical types of questions, you don't accuse or insinuate that our public officials are in any way corrupt. So you basically leave those controversial topics alone and focus on facts. One thing that struck me that I never knew, and again, Glenn, thank you very much for bringing this up, but that you said in the middle that struck me like a thunder strike, was that cows eat fish feces and chickens eat cow feces and things such as that. And of course, we all know that in the wild, the chicken would never probably eat a cow poop, and certainly cows wouldn't eat fish poop. And then that got me thinking about, the way to correct this is with parents, because as you correctly said, these folks that are making decisions are in a culture and a society that they were probably raised with some of the same food choices that we're being given now. And it kind of struck me as well is that I know when I was in school, we used to sometimes go to farms and to places to see a cow and to see a pig and to see a chicken. I don't think that school children are able to see a real cow or a real chicken or a real pig, and to kind of get that disgust of, that's a cow, mommy. I'm eating a cow. I just saw one with a big brown eye today that I can never eat one ever again. If we ever saw what happens in the factory farming for raising these animals, I've seen some of the videos that were like smuggled out videos, and it's appalling. So my question, and I guess it's kind of coming back to, is there any way that you can see that we could get children to interact with these animals more, so that they maybe give it a name and they call it there's a cow and give it a name, or a pig and that kind of thing, so they kind of get that disgust before they eat the next burger?
Yeah, well, Mike, that's a good question. And, that's why farm sanctuaries have been created all over this country. And if some people are lucky enough to live near farm sanctuaries, they're a great place to visit. And it would be pretty hard for children after visiting a farm sanctuary to want to eat the animals that they've just befriended. Having said that, we can't really expect that 330 million Americans are going to be visiting farm sanctuaries next year. So we need to make this case that I'm trying to help make in as many ways as we can. One lovely way is to visit a farm sanctuary, but we also just need to spread the message. And so when you see presentations in this wonderful conference, that if you're already on board on a vegan diet and you have friends that aren't, you've got many presentations here that will wind up, as Ben will tell you, ultimately on the YouTube channel of the Real Truth About Health conference, and you can forward those presentations to your friends. And, we need, those of us who are already vegans, those of you out there who are already vegans, you need to help spread the word, ask your meat-eating friends to watch a video. And I tried in designing my video to design it mainly not to preach to the converted, but to preach to those who are still eating meat. So I know that many of you listening out there may be vegan now, but when my presentation is on the YouTube channel, if you could forward it to your friends who eat meat, please do.
That was what I was just thinking here, Glenn, is that I suspect yours will be amongst the most shared because it was so relatable and entertaining and drives everything home, potentially the way that can make change. So again, thank you for all of that. Let's go now to Benny is, oops, I'm sorry, I just screwed something up. Bear with me. And so we're going to bring Benny back. Benny, you had a follow-up?
Yeah, I did. I'm having a conversation offline, Glenn, and so a little pop quiz. According to a Dr. Klitz, the following are not available in vegetables: D3 vitamin, D3, B12, taurine, creatine, carnitine, carnosine, heme iron, and DHA. And because of that, we got to eat the animals.
Nonsense. Well, okay, B12, as you've all probably heard in a dozen or more lectures from doctors here at this conference, B12 is something that is commonly recommended that vegans, in fact, even non-vegans, take a supplement of because it's found in the dirt. Most of us don't eat dirt. We wash our vegetables. So pop a B12 pill. So that's not really a problem. Now, as for all those other things you recommend, I've been, or not that you recommend, that you're the person you contacted was trying to challenge me on. I've been a vegan for 30 years. I'm fine. I'm not falling down. I've never in my life needed a pharmaceutical drug. I'm 66 years old. How many people in my age range can say that? Well, a little caveat to that, I have had oral surgery. When I had oral surgery, I had an antibiotic. But outside of that, I've never needed a pharmaceutical drug. Everyone I know who's on this kind of diet is in excellent health. And there are people who are raised vegan from birth and they're thriving. So I just don't credit anything that the person who contacted you said. I don't think there's anything missing in my diet other than B12. And by the way, for the for some of those things like omega-3s, that people say eat fish for omega-3, but the fish are eating the algae. So if you eat sea vegetables, if you eat walnuts, if you eat flax, you get those omega-3s. You don't have to resort to eating fish.